There we go. The microphone's actually going to work now. Yay! I decided not to deal with the news report today, not to redo it because of the fact that my microphone decided to be a mess and not work today. So we're up against the Misty Girl Gorillas and the Chiclets. And it's going to be the Gen Alpha special, the one you've been waiting for. So we're going to be going through these threads that I found lately. I'm going to be reading the comments to you, and it deserves to be its own special. And it just did. Oh boy. Yes, I know these are a little too high of a level, ain't you? Yep, most of you are. Well, most of the gorillas are. Okay, let's see if we can find one that is not. I may have bitten off more than I can chew on this one. Yes, I did. Okay, so the question that was posed was simply this: what scares you the most about the next generation? Okay, that's all it was. What scares you the most about the next generation? Okay, and I'm going to have to wait until I'm in a combat situation so I can start reading these. Here's one. In addition to everything else said, which you're going to hear about in a minute, they cannot use a computer. They can surf the web, but cannot do anything useful. Many of the students, my students, are worse than my parents at doing simple things like attaching documents to emails and understanding the file path. And of course, there's people trying to explain this away, and if you do, you do. And I know better now. I'm not going up there to get those hidden panthers. Good heavens. Yeah, I think I have simply bitten off more than I can chew trying to get these gorillas. There we go. Now, came here to say this. I am a teacher, and even though they spend their life with their faces glued to the screen, they can't use anything other than Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I have an intelligent student, keep that in mind, that was unable to tell Gmail from Google Classroom and was trying to post her project on her email. Fun. Let me see here. I have a Gen Z coworker who doesn't know how to do even the simplest things on a computer. They don't know how to check. They don't know how to check how much room was on their hard drive. It was full. Empty their recycle bin. The reason why it was full, or stuff like formatting a cell as text in itself. And when they run into problems, their writing, not mine, they're utterly incapable of searching for an answer to figure out how to fix it on their own. If someone can't fix it for them, then it simply won't get fixed. Fun. This is our future. This is what I get to retire on. Yay. Here's another one. Non-existent reading comprehension. There's story after story of... you're a 41. Darn it. There's story after story of teachers who teach upper middle school kids with kids who can't point out the main character of an elementary level paragraph story or find the theme of a simple passage. Some of these, quote, COVID babies, quote, who had critical learning years robbed from them will be voting based on what people tell them to think because they don't have the mind to research for themselves. This was said 2 months ago before the election, okay? Guess what? Their prediction came true. Here's another one. This was a response to that one. Now think about writing. They can't use a stop. It's sentence after sentence after sentence nonstop. And I think it's mainly because if you dictate it, it'll punctuate it for you now. You used to have to say period, comma, blah, blah, blah. Here's another big one. It's a long one. I teach young kids, so Gen Alpha. A lot of them can't persevere through a challenge without going to pieces. And it's not like I'm crying because I can't find my notebook because I've had a rough day and this is just the final straw. That's understandable. If it's been a horrible traumatic day, one little thing like that is just gonna and you're crying, even as an adult. Okay, I go back. I'm crying because I can't find my notebook and no one is coming to rescue me, despite the fact that if I looked in my desk for more than 0.5 seconds, I'd find it. They have no understanding of their actions having consequences. My class was out of control in the lunchroom, running, pushing, throwing food, and went all surprise Pikachu that the teachers supervising lunch kept them in for recess. They're also lazy. We are just starting to learn how to answer a question in a complete sentence and use evidence from a text to support our idea. I'm not asking for a 10-page thesis. I'm asking for, I know the boy is happy at the end of the story because he said, quote, "This is a great day." I model the skill, give them the sentence starters, and they still can't even just complete the sentence starter. So they'll just write "he's happy" in their notebook and expect me to be like, "Perfect, this is wonderful." A lot of it is bad parenting. Ding, 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 ding. It's not just the iPads and TikTok. A lot of parents will step in before a kid is ever even challenged by something and fix it for them so they don't have to learn to problem solve. They expect me to spoon feed them answers and refuse to do anything that takes more than a minute of thinking. They also make excuses for their kids' behavior and don't discipline them. Parenthesis, I had a parent this week trying to explain to me that the problem isn't that their daughter talks in class. The problem is that other kids are talking to her when she talks to them. Parenthesis. I don't foresee these kids being able to function in any career that expects them to do anything other than exactly what they want to do and that asks nothing of them. Yeah, this is our future. This is what you're retiring on. This is what I am going to retire on. And here's another one. How big the gulf between educated critical thinkers and reactionary illiterates will be, and how the latter will significantly outnumber the former. If you don't understand what that means, Generation Alpha, that means the reactionary illiterates, that means you, and that means that you're stupid, okay, will significantly outnumber the educated critical thinkers. Here we go again, the sheer ignorance. So many don't read books, they have limited vocabulary. I don't speak to many who seem to think critically. They are raised to take standard tests, and consume content rather than analyze and contemplate. It's terrifying. One quickly that so many of them can't read. And the response, plus the fact that a lot of them don't care to read either. Real bad problems. I mean, we can't do this, guys. You're going to have to learn how to read. You're in Generation Alpha, and you're going to have to get over it. Because the world relies on you being able to read and being able to count and being able to do math and, all that wonderful stuff. So get over it. Here's another one. Teacher here. The issues that worry me. Hang on, because I got to listen to that. I win. Oh, I heard a clunk. What was the clunk? What was that clunk? Ooh. Oh, it's a two-hander. Teacher here, the issues that worry me. Cell phone addiction. Teenagers in class, head down. Teenagers at the bus stop, head down. Walking across the street, riding a bike, walking, head down. It makes me sad. I don't know how you're going to ride a bike and have your head down. You need to have your head forward so you can see where you're going, and that's double for walking. That's why so many of you fall. But I'll come back to that in a minute. I need to go on. Inability to focus. Brain rot, meme culture, short form content equates to everyone having the attention span of a goldfish. I always say the attention span of a shiny object, and it gets the message across just the same. Get it. Complete lack of any understanding of finances, lack of any aspiration, no interest in developing job skills that can help them in the future. This generation is going to be shocked when they find out how hard their parents work and how hard it costs to live and how much it costs to live in their hometown, which is completely the truth. Complete lack of any knowledge or understanding of the forces that brought us to our current political environment that they are about to stroll into as voting age adults in a few years. The state of things will be taken for granted, resigned to fascism or openly embracing it. Well, it kind of happened a bit earlier than you thought. The will to enact change for the better is gone, seen as futile. It saddens me to my core. But wait, there's more to this one. I'm very proud of this post. It's not mine. I wish it were. I wish I could claim credit for it. This isn't all the young people I see, but I would say that's over 50% at least. Sorry, I'm having to go back and forth between oddly enough, my cell phone screens I can read these responses to, and the game. How you resisted, but it's okay. There are many that give me great hope. You're going, I'm not worried. The bright, intelligent, creative, and deep-feeling students I have will be the only forces holding back the ugly in the future. I hope that the value of empathy, self-reliance, and intelligence gains a resurgence among the youth. Please. It makes me happy to see young people discovering older technology. I hope they someday realize the value, sorry, I lost my place, in rejecting the need to be connected to the internet every single second of every single day of their entire lives. I mean, it's going down, it's just a matter of time. There is so much more to enjoy in the world than your cell phone. I understand for many teens it's the only escape in their lives. I hope they can escape the grip of technology as well somehow. Let me see here. What worries me? What worries me is that these short form entertainment kids, this is a response by the way, get their info off TikTok and don't realize that the algorithms will keep showing them what it thinks they want to watch. So they don't develop their own bias and opinions on things and just absorb the same information. And yes, this is true. Y'all get your news off TikTok and you need to stop this right now. I'm sorry for going all bad, but you're going to have to get off TikTok right now and start understanding that TikTok is not news. And it's never been, it never will be, and it's going to only feed you what you want. Here's another one. Illiteracy is through the roof. Common sense is unbelievably low. They can't read. They don't know how to count money. They can't hold conversations. That's gone. Because their attention spans are so short, they have behavior issues due to screen time withdrawal at school. And they can't be disciplined because they have total apathy for it. They literally do not care about anything. They're very nihilistic, basically. Their inability to think for themselves. They need to be told what opinions to have by whatever are the dominant ones on social media. Yes, this is true. And it's part of the problem with the TikTok generation. It doesn't matter if I get aggro off right now. I'm just going to shadow damage you. Let me get that off real quick, if I can. There it goes. Normally the fell pup just keeps a bit of what it's doing. I'm Gen Z and afraid that Gen Alpha won't do as well in school because their parents, parenthesis, not all of them, of course, parenthesis, keep placing them in front of tablets. And by the way, there's a new generation coming up, Gen Beta, for the ones born this year. I can only imagine how much worse they're going to be, because it's going to be more of the same until people get their acts together and figure it out. Oh, more tigers. Okay, we'll level grind here on some tigers while we go through even more content. Now, I'm a millennial, so I'm not sure if I should fear Gen Zs or As. in this scenario. Either way, I'm more scared. Oh, oh, come here, baby. Oh, I'm going to get aggro now. Okay, gimme. Either way, I'm more scared for than of. However, I do think we're going to see a segment of young people become more traditionalist. Parenthesis, yearning for simpler times they never knew. Parenthesis, and fear they may drag out some of our old hateful ghosts in the process. Surprise! You're mine. Hey, okay, turn around. Here's a response. I think I see a lot of that going on, but I wonder if it's the kind of thing that inevitably gets ruined by the commercialization of social media. Sure, you can live sustainably, but how will you ever learn and then show it off without Instagram reels? I may be being cynical, though. Another one harping on the same topic, but it needs harped on. Illiteracy. Granted, my sample size isn't the largest, but not a single GD one of the children I interact with are any good at not only reading, but absorbing the info from what they can read. Here's a response. My SO has been teaching some classes for high school kids, and he was shocked by their lack of penmanship and spelling abilities. He brought home a card the kids made for him, really sweet. But I'm not exaggerating when I say it looks like kindergartners wrote it. I could not believe they were all 15, 16. He said they also had to ask him how to spell very simple 5-letter words. He's found this to be the case at all the different schools he's gone to. These poor kids are being failed by us. Here's another response. iPad parents don't realize they are responsible for teaching their kids how to read. I remember my mom forcing me to read at 4. It was torture, but now I'm not a dumb beep, so I'm grateful for it. I don't think life is like Tarzan, where you can wait till they're old to teach them how to read comprehensively. One sentence response, they can't critically think. Ooh, here's a response to that one. Get ready for this. College prof here. I genuinely see no difference between the generation cohorts when it comes to critical thinking as a separate problem. I'm concerned that a lot of people don't know what the phrase even means. So, a fascinating response. But I wonder what year he started. You know, what generations did this professor have? I'm just curious. I'm not trying to smack down their comment because it goes against the grain, but I'm just curious. Now, I mentioned it elsewhere in response to how tariffs might impact my work. I'm a biochemist, and I often oversee the hiring process at a biotech company I'm at. I have not had an American with a good competitive resume show up in my inbox for a while. That was all in caps. Even for your garden variety, RA roles, almost nothing. So when I hear from teachers that, quote, the kids are getting worse, quote, I dread what it's going to be like for Americans trying to break into the tech industry. Or break into tech, constantly having to compete with nations that have their academic beep together. China, South Korea, lots of EU countries, etc. I'm sorry, I misread you a little bit. I corrected myself. Here's a response to that, but it's happening too, and I'm more afraid of the Gen Z men currently harassing women on TikTok with your body, my choice than I am of tariffs. We've had bad economies come and go. When has there ever been a time in the U.S. where young men so gleefully threatened forcible copulations? And I can't say what they really said. I had to correct myself from the forcible copulations. Let's see here. Okay, here's another one. Their arrogance, I'm still on the Reddit thread, their arrogance in misusing buzzwords out of online YouTube therapy sessions. I.e., they were, quote, traumatized, quote, after that last math class. Oh, man, why did I use that? It was going down. I.e., they were, quote, traumatized after that last math class. Their self-centered behavior will be trouble for us all down the road. response to that one. Oh God, I can't stand this now. Everyone is suddenly, quote, on the spectrum, quote, and quote, neurodiverse, quote, no, Brayley, you're not autistic just because you can't hold a conversation. Whoa, wow. But I can personally add to this now because I know for a fact in some districts to get autism services, all you got to do is walk on your toes. And that's all you got to do. Ow, that one hit me hard. You hit that. And all your kids walk on their toes. You watch them one day. Watch them one day. They do this little shuffle step to try and fool you into thinking they're walking like everybody else, walking like they're supposed to be, heel toe, heel toe. They're not. That shuffle step is toe first. They're walking on their toes. Let me see here. Oh, here's one. Here's a response. The boys aren't growing up. They all seem to be on psyche meds. That's their word, not mine. And living in mom's or grandma's basement. No ambition, few hobbies, no skills, slovenly, not interested in college, can't hold a job or keep a girlfriend, yet overconfident and misogynistic. For those of you in Generation Alpha, misogynistic is a very big word that means you hate women. Meanwhile, the young women are doing fine. College, work, fit, active, adulting. It's bizarre. I'm Gen X, never had kids. Is it just my circles? Anyone else notice this? Here's response. I work at a university. So another college person, and it's not just you. The only thing I'd add is that the girls are on psych meds too, and their mental health is at least marginally worse than the boys'. Jeez. Now, righty, here's another response. It's just fascinating responses here. I'd argue that it's a mix of a lot of problems. There we go. If I can talk, that'd be great, right? Oh, I'm almost at the camp. That'll level me up no matter what. Men aren't, quote, valued as much anymore, so they care less of what people think of them. I don't think so. I think it's... No, I don't think that's... I don't think that's it, because it's across the spectrum. It's not just guys. In today's culture, there isn't any motivation to be better. Why go to the gym, get a career, become the best version of yourself when you can sit on your butt and get copulatory and instant gratification with the press of a button? The lack of father figures. This is a big one, I feel. Too many men are growing up with no dad or fatherly figure to teach them what a responsible and leadership man is supposed to be. Their words, not mine. I myself grew up with a single mom, and although I consider myself at an okay space, I feel like I lack a lot of qualities that men need. Confidence, ambitions, leadership, to name a few. My wife very much wears the pants in the relationship. Okay. The consumer market preys on desperate and lonely men. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Men want success, women, and fulfillment. They fail to get it. Consumerism promises it. They get that dopamine hit. They fail to get what they want. Consumerism promises it. They get the dopamine hit. It never ends. Just my 2 cents. Now, here's a high school nurse. Okay, hope I have to turn off for this yet. No, I'm not there yet. It's after the next curve. Okay, I'm a high school nurse, and this is what I see. They have no patience and expect things to happen instantly. Dear God, yes, that is correct. They don't understand that there is no instant cure for things. For example, they think I'm crazy because I want them to sit for 10 minutes with ice on an injury. Next bullet point. They can't handle being uncomfortable at all. They want to call their parents and go home for everything. Anxiety, so much of it, they come to the clinic freaking out because they can't breathe, shaking, limb numbness, panic look on their face, etc., etc. I'm lagging. But that's the advantage of pre-recording this. Because if it does pop me off, guess what? I just log back in and edit out that information. Is there? Yeah, there it is. Gimme. I forgot there's more locks here. Here's a funny one. They're long hair and they're rock and roll music. goodness. Here's a response. I see a general lack of empathy and so much social anxiety. So sometimes I am sure my grandkids would rather text people than have a face-to-face conversation. Ellipses, even with their friends. A response to that comment, here it is. I heard someone describe today's youth, and I feel this is fairly accurate, as having, quote, simultaneously the lowest self-esteem on top of their most inflated egos, quote, and it tracks. It's got some traction, people. Another one, increasing lack of critical thinking and the inability to differentiate the truth or reality compared to what they are spoon-fed by various types of media that don't care about people's best interests. We have already seen the increasing consequences of that over the past 20 years, and it will only get worse. Response thereof, having to choose a side by going by what the algorithm tells them rather than saying it's okay to be just in the middle or neutral. Sometimes it's easier to see the nuance from both sides from up on the fence. Social media definitely pushes an extreme view from opposing sides more rapidly these days. And yes, because your children are consuming TikTok content left and right, guess what? They're being fed whatever the algorithm tells them they're being fed. They're going to have to confront things that no other generation in living memory has ever had to deal with, as we prepare them for this by mocking their fears and the pain they feel about the future that awaits them. It's actually one of those serious ones. That kind of thing will test the resilience of the strongest souls, let alone a generation of gaslit, scapegoated, and terrified individuals. Response, honestly, yeah, the youngest generation is growing up in a society that is already considerably dystopian. I don't think most of us realize that yet. Response again, it's not that they will have to confront things nobody has ever confronted before. They will just do it with a complete lack of preparedness. No other generation in living memory has ever been so ill-equipped for survival. It remains to be seen whether there's actually any resilience inherent to this generation. Best I can tell, if the internet shuts off, they will be completely lost. I'd love to be wrong about that. All right, so let's get over here back to this camp so I can turn this quest in and level up. And then we'll go into even more comments. Fun, fun, fun. Hello. Okay, we'll get rid of the raptors in a second here. I do have a point to spend, and I think I have a gear to spend too. Now, you can see here the last point of Shadow Mastery, and now the Affliction Tree is filled. So next up, we'll be going down Bistro and start there at Improved Shadow Bolt. But let's get back to this. Didn't I have a level 39 of my Bob? Oh no, that was another character. Oh, that was another character, okay. Tendency toward collectivism and failure to value individualism. This was one of those other responses, by the way. Lack of resourcefulness and the innate need to make do for themselves. Lack of curiosity. Obsession with and confusion of appearance versus true appearance. Lack of reading skills, comprehension, and ability to read through anything more than 2 sentences or 5 bullet points. Ooh, that's a... Ooh. Abject lack of resilience in the face of adversity or challenge. Lack of future time orientation, financial illiteracy, ignorance of and lack of curiosity about history and humanities. And we all know the story about those who don't study their history. Yeah. Financial illiteracy, ignorance of and humanity, self-centeredness was their last one. their relationship to the internet. This is a separate response, by the way. I'm looking for the frosted lucky lizards. Oh, I gotta go through here to get there. Okay. I see now. Their relationship with the internet, how much time they spend on it versus in-person activities, how it's been used as a babysitter for them, how protections for children on it are a joke, how creeps and bullies frequently use it to prey on children, the amount and range of copulatory videos, can't say it, sorry, available to kids, and how that warps perceptions of who they are in bed. That's the best response to that, isn't it? I never did get my shards back. How very little guidance is given to kids in schools to be able to suss out what's real or fake, and how propaganda, botting, and algorithms work. Then we're going to get my shards back because I plumb forgot them. So hang on a minute while I work on getting these soul shards back. Give me your soul. Okay, so onward and upward we go. Here, lizards. I should be coming up to them. Alright, I'm an older Gen Z and feel like my generation was the last one whose parents actually bothered to teach them anything. Ooh. Like my parents taught me how to read and write and count and spell and do basic math. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the last of the shards back. So I'm up to 16, yay. Okay. All before I ever started kindergarten, because you didn't get to start kindergarten if you couldn't write your own name and address and count to 10. It's been years since I've seen a parent sit down at the table with their kid and teach them anything at all. Ooh. And again, yeah, I can see that. My puppy, go get. Which is crazy, because Gen Alpha is also the first generation which isn't allowed out of the house. They aren't allowed to play outside alone. They aren't allowed to go to friends' houses or have sleepovers. They aren't allowed to have friends over, nothing. All of their social interaction comes from the iPad or the classroom or whatever random sport or play group their mom forced them into. You'd think a generation of parents so overprotective of their kids can't even trick or treat would put more effort into having fun and doing activities at home. No critical thinking skills, just Google it because of AI. People won't have their own positions through experience. They'll just claim AI knows all and is correct. Here's one interesting. There's sadness. Young people seem so sad. And a bit depressed too. Sad people tend not to move things forward. They just try to survive. We took all the reasons they had for optimism, hovered over their every move, and now they just seem to feel resigned and sad. Hey, we found the frosted lucky lizards. Yay! They're lizardly delightful. No respect for the authority. Kids today don't pay any respect to elderly and not even their parents. They'll grow up careless of other people, no empathy for anybody. It was done. It doesn't matter, you're going to go down anyway. Bye. Sorry, they will grow up careless of other people, no empathy for anybody, just looking after themselves. There are exceptions, of course, but the majority of kids today are like this. Here's another one. As a teacher, I have a lot to say about this. I'm Gen Z. Many of my students are also Gen Z. I have a mutual understanding with them and work very well with them. We understand each other's lingo, our interests are similar. I'm just going to let that go. I understand my Gen Z students and can see myself in them every day, from the best ones to the worst ones. Things are very different for the Gen Alpha kids. That's generational differences. I hate to tell you this, but that's what it is. Okay, I don't teach any this year, but I did supervise them on a field trip the other day. They're so different, it's quite scary. No attention spans, strange sense of humor, which all that's true. Where'd they go? Strange sense of humor, extreme social awkwardness, no individuality. These students are difficult to talk to, and they have no social cues. Put that. All right, while we finish this one out, we're going to have some raptor or something. We'll have turtle. Let's have turtle today. All right, listen, let me finish this teacher's one. Maybe I don't understand them because I didn't grow up in the same era as them, but what I see are children who have had their brains melted by TikTok and other social media. All the students show symptoms of autism, and ironically, the students of the same age in the autism class are far more polite, understanding, and socially aware. That's a brutal one. I'm scared of a generation that is shaped entirely by the internet and serves at the whims of whoever the algorithm chooses to push. Gen Alpha should be called Generation Algorithm. Here's a true one, but it's a one-liner. It's a zinger. When are you going to get to the zinger? No, I'm getting there now. We are getting there now. Getting. They can't read an analog clock. And no, they really can't. Let's see here. Another one, the amount of dependence on technology. We're all already so dependent on it, and it will only continue to, that's going to go down. And it will only continue to go worse, which scares me since I may not even know basic life skills. The number of people who spell losing as lose sorry, let me restart that one. I misread it. My apologies. The number of people, my word, the number of people who spell losing or lose as loosing, Loosing, or loose, Loose. I think it's like 73 million people. The number of DMs I've gotten saying I'm just mad because Kamala Harris is a looser is frightening. Well, honey, that's the fact that you have friends that are telling you that is frightening. But I read somewhere else that it's about 1 in 5 children that graduate from high school now can't read. That is a fact. I know in my district here, we have kids that can only do half of the work, and they get National Honor Society. And I'm not kidding you on that. They are only obligated by their IEP to do half of the work, and got fully into National Junior Honor Society. Hey, come back here. I know it's just going to come to me, but that's okay. There we go. The things that scares me the most about this... Oh, yeah, and by the way, they also can't tie their shoes, and they get in the National Honor Society. Not that that has anything to do with it, but... And it was the same ones, by the way. It was the same ones, by the way, that only had to do half of the work. The thing that scares me the most about this new generation is they are so reliant on technology, right? They are growing up in a world where they can't imagine life without the internet or their phones, and I think that's really dangerous. Well, it is. These kids are going to be adults soon, and they're going to be completely unprepared for the real world if they can't function without a screen in front of them. Oh, my inventory's full. Wait a minute. What am I going to abandon here? The Fang. Go. Because that's more valuable. Can I get them out? No, I need 2 more. Okay. Nope, those are Murlockies. I don't want a Murloco Taco. I want Lashtail Raptors. There you are. Oop. Oh, I did that in the wrong order. Oh well. I'm going to lazy warlock this and show you how to do it. You just let your dots go. Your Fell Hunter's already there. The moment it comes to you, you get your Drain Life. And now it's gone. Genuinely not giving a F, this is another response by complaining when that leads to consequences. Also, we can't just forget that a pandemic happening that changed education for some very important developmental years amongst many, that will have a big impact. Well, you know, COVID's been over for a long time now. We need to stop blaming COVID and put the blame squarely where it belongs. They're seniors, high school seniors, I'm assuming, with the reading skills of 6th graders. Yeah, they can't read. They simply can't read.
Shadow trails.
On election day, there was a quote nationwide, I believe, a parenthesis, sorry, nationwide, I believe, hoax from a crisis line telling schools there was an active one on campus. We were in lockdown till the cops cleared us. I was freaking out but staying calm for the students. Once classes let out in a school of 1,200 kids, I saw nor heard of any showing any concern whatsoever. I suppose they think that this is normal in today's world. All right, let's go ahead and get this turned in. Whoops, I gotta hit that way. I don't want to go through the Murloc village. Am I close to the road? Yeah, I am. I'm close to the road. Let's just get back to the road and we'll walk up the road to them. Their inability to function when things get rough. Another, yeah, it's true. I work with many 18 to 25-year-old, and the second something becomes too difficult or they get told something they don't want to hear, they sit on the floor and refuse to do anything. Wow. Or they stomp around crying about how we're all toxic and abusive toward them. I see it other places as well. Part of life is unfortunately challenges and things won't always go your way. The reactions they have are just downright frightening. Oh, another inventory is full moment. Yep. Okay, and there's our road. It's top of the hour here. Oh, this is just going to get me back to the road. Okay. Do I have room to get that or no? Just in case I pull you. I don't want to, but just in case I do. Oh, I had space. Okay, I must have had a stack already. All right, as someone in Gen Z, here are a few primitive thoughts. I'll get to that in just a second here. Let's get back to the path and then to the road. The vast majority seem to have minimal understanding of literature. They seem surprised that I knew a good portion of Tennyson's Charge of the Light Brigade, and for the most part, they seem to have a clinical aversion to reading anything, really. With perhaps exceptions amongst the somewhat literate ones for Colleen Hoover and the Pumpkin Spice Buffet. Oh, and Percy Jackson, aged 18 plus. However, there are a few exceptions. On my course, about a third are reading some of the classics, but it's a creative writing and publishing course, and to be expected, I, for one, am reading American Prometheus, which if you haven't bought a copy of, you should buy it now. It won a Pulitzer Prize for a good reason. And in a similar vein, the way the education system is structured at the moment doesn't prioritize critical thinking I lost my place, sorry, or new ideas in the slightest. What you hear instead is employment, career, grade, career. I give credit to where I went, though they did/do have a few good art schemes, which almost no one used, but they were good to have. A few people I know have artistic pursuits, and I've managed to carve out a nice little bubble for myself, but in the vast, vast majority are not interested in creative pursuits at all. Yeah, that's true too. And that's especially unless it can be attached to a screen somehow. That's the only way they'll do it. Make sure, whoop, wrong way, wrong way. Well, I don't have good buffs, so I need to get back to the camp there, turn that in, and then I'm going to warp out, and we'll call this a day because this is a long one. But there's still more. The thing that worries me the most about the younger generations is how they will be affected by growing up with older people constantly trashing them all over social media. This, my generation never stops being about kids today, and I just wonder how their kids and grandkids feel knowing their elders think they are useless losers. Nobody takes any responsibility for the bleepy parenting that probably led to this problem, if it even exists. And that is true. One word, entitlement. That was their response. Like someone once said about Margaret Thatcher, they have no hinterland, no sense of history, or more accurately, they aren't being provided with a proper sense of historical context. They think the world didn't exist before they got here and won't exist after they're gone. They, and not just them to be fair, don't understand where the dominant ideologies today come from, or how they evolved, or how the technologies they use evolved with and are dependent on interconnected systems of commerce and exchange. Big words, Gen Alpha, I know. You're going to have to look them up. Or how political power circulates throughout the world. It's no wonder that they feel so much unfocused anger and disillusionment. It's an understandable response to constant bewilderment. To them, things just seem to happen and happen again for no discernible reason. Oh, doo-doo. Well, this is the turn off I need, isn't it? Yeah, that's turn off I need anyway. Okay, let's just run. All right, here's the last one I'm going to do, and I'll do it while I hearth out after turning in this one. Come on. So while we hearth out, here is the last one. Get ready. Ooh, I have an iron box. Okay. I'll have to send that to Turkey Tincha. He has the keys. Here we go. They seem to think in a group, but that thinking is always vibes and feels and not facts and data. I am confused as to how, when I was a child, we all thought the information age would be one of intelligent beings who could decisively act on data. If that data is not there, then how to find it and ingest it ingest it and comprehend it. Now their decisions and ideas are fed to them. They outsource their thinking to someone else. Even here in South Africa, our election cycle was full of comments about how lacking the youths are. Election campaign influencer videos would have comments, "Thanks for this, I might not have gone to register to vote." Or ILYSM, "I will register too." Even juniors who come out of university taking on development internships are shocking. Yeah, I'm selling a lot. All right. Now, even juniors who come out of university taking on development internships are shocking. Mentoring becomes torture. I would understand if they were a first year student, but how they make it past graduation and into the workforce, so I'm actually convinced it's because they all just use generative AI tools. There is no individual anymore, and the hive seems a combination of stupid rather than smarts. Listening to them read should also be included in the Geneva Conventions. So I'm going to cook all this stuff. And with that, there are way more comments. I could do a whole other one of these. But for today's news in Warcraft, this is Yummydelish. Those are friends, not food. Have a great day and great gaming. Bye, everybody.